Moonbeam Sama, I think, on the traditional melee goalie picks, which we've seen a little bit more variety, I think, in goalie picks this tournament. And Moonbeam Sama really likes to pick that, given those opportunities. Not to mention as well, a really weird tempo swing pickup here as well, I think. I think that's one of those awakenings where a lot of older players will have a trauma response with. It used to be incredibly strong, but nowadays it is no longer that monster that it was. And we're going to go into the game very quickly. Flowers picking up a signature Luna KO, and we'll see what they get from it.
Yeah, but at the cost of it, both barriers have been down. Still, offense is going to rage on here as Bertram steps in, and Flowers with the finishing touch. Unfortunately, gets taken off the board, and Bertram out of options, dealing with the extended hitbox from Kazan, just nowhere to clear to, and Daru gets there first, scoring that point.
Yeah, and triple specialized training actually going to be picked up by all three members of Lions Eat Bears, which is a bit scary. All three of them are ultimates that can just knock you out unstaggered if you're not paying attention. Of course, Luna a little bit easier to play around, but still absolutely can get jump scared, and we already see that there. Celsi losing half their HP basically instantly.
Yeah, but Tempo Swing's now a healing item, so not going to have issues getting that back. As we uncharacteristically see both sides with an open net, a beautiful save from Celsi. Nice Rose Warp, and Daru in the one-on-one is able to get it done with the closed primary, Ult beating out Kai Barrage as Nova scores their second points.
Very, very strong play. I'm very impressed here by the offense of People Supernova. It feels like they both had just reversals of fortune in both these points so far, and Oni Village, a very stable map historically, so given that they were able to do that twice, I'm very curious to see how the rest of this game will go. That being said, if you do get that flip, this is the composition on Lions Eat Bears to absolutely punish that. I mean, look at that. Has to be blown basically defensively there, and Celsi's still going to be staggered as well.
Yeah, staggered and trying to contribute to this play as Natty Fangirl dribbles the ball, buying time for everyone to get into position. Flip forced out of Moonbeam Sama. Great patience, and Bertram doesn't have the options to deal with two people in his face. And unfortunately, nowhere to strike to as well. Kazan covering both the direct out and the up because of that extended hitbox. And a well-earned MVP from Moonbeam Sama, hoping for something a little bit better than the tempo swing that he has.
Yeah, and taking a look at some of the things here, I'm looking at things like the Rampage for this Kazan peak performance for anyone. Very curious, though, to see if that Deadeye is going to get picked up by the Luna. And yeah, it is. Flowers, of course, a player who really, really likes to KO, specializes it in it even, and maybe even to the detriment of other options. That being said, a Super Surge picked up for this Kai is also going to be incredibly powerful for that mobility, not to mention, skipped over it, but that hot shot on the Atlas, of course, incredibly strong on the character, not to mention incredibly strong on Oni Village, where you're going to need a lot of those guaranteed outs in order to keep that final barrier alive. So we'll see if the match can be brought to a standstill to really allow Daru all the time they need. It's not that he's needed too much time so far, but if that really becomes the case, I think Bertram's life becomes a lot harder.
Yeah, absolutely. But they are able to play for this damage win condition a lot better with Flowers taking both Spec Training and Deadeye. So far, both teams vying for position in the midfield. Nice coverage from Celsi. Not good enough. Still, though, beautiful utility from both of these goalies, allowing their forwards to keep getting the ball. And that's a nice confirm from Natty Fangirl off of the boost of Flowers.
Yeah, good team play between the two forwards here on Lions Eat Bears. Bertram now going to use that Super Surge to try to get up a little bit, but to no avail. This Atlas, again, even though it's in the open net, still a very strong goalie here.
Wow.
We're going to see a KO come through.
Oh, no!
All good. Hey, it's an elimination match. It's an elimination match in your qualification tournament. And this is, to be clear, Moonbeam Sama relatively to basically every other player in this tournament, a new face on the block, right? Big solo queue grinder. This is their first, not debut, but this is their first kind of big showing on their own roster, on a roster that didn't just use them as sort of this mid-season substitute. So it's going to be a little nerve. It's going to have nerves. A lot of people tend to forget that we've been around for so long, but for a lot of these newer players that we have, that very much still exists.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, recovering well from that unfortunate misplay, as Daru and Selassie has kept this ball on the other side of the field for quite some time. They just can't find the clear, not the hook, but the flip finally expended, and it goes right back to sender. Fortunately, not right there with the piercing shot, and Daru can't find it with the top spin either. Good defense, though, from the side of Lion Bears as Bertram steps up with that super surge. Can't quite find it, and a whiff flip is gonna hurt them as Darus tries to send it in once more. Trading flips, two of them burned, and the barrier still falls in the end. Bertram now on his last legs, trying to step up here and make a play happen, but the defense from Moonbeam and Selassie has been so good, and they haven't had to play it nearly as long. What a beautiful flip from Moonbeam Sama as Daru tries to get into a position, top spins early. Oh no! Oh no! Can't be doing that. Daru gets in the way, saves Bertram, and Lion Eat Bears from a very good flip goal from Selassie.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate to see. This is going to give potentially an opportunity. No, though, it's going to be ended. It's as if it didn't even happen. Point goes the way of people's Supernova, and it's, you know, I'll say, you know, there's a little bit of struggle going on in this game, but hey, you know, both teams here absolutely willing to thug it out.
Everyone gets their one. Moonbeam has his, Daru just got theirs. Everyone gets their one. We're going to wait and see if Selassie joins the tactical blunder train. But what hasn't been a blunder for them so far is getting that first barrier. Daru trying to cross them up, getting that second, and will do so with a well-placed open ultimate there. The hook isn't going to cash in on a barrier, so both will still stand strong for Nova, as it's an open net situation for them as Bertram scrambles in the pocket, just trying to get the ball away from both of these capable forwards. Ooh. And a whip flip is going to help him do that. As Selassie burned theirs. Still though, Flowers trying to dribble up, can't quite find it, has to burn the flip as well, and Bertram's the one who finally gets them on the board there, pushing up with EB Super Surge as we were expecting.
Yeah, this is a bit scary though. One midfielder is going to go down. It's going to be up to Bertram, Natty Fangirl, but it's just not going to be enough. Yeah, Daru and Selassie are absolutely just having a very unstoppable offense, a very consistent offense, it feels like, into this Kai on Oni Village, and it really feels like Bertram has put himself, not put himself, but has been put by Selassie and Daru into a lot of checkmate situations.
Yeah, just not much you can do here. Kazan and Estelle cover so many options all the time. They are going to trade in barriers, and this is looking like a very good offensive push. Very patient in the midfield, and it slips through both the defenders of Nova. Daru trying to equalize, but unfortunately not going to cash in on that flip. Great patience from Bertram, still gets beat out by Daru though. And that's a great opportunity. Beautiful catch on the flip from Rasmus. And we're going to send it in top side, tying up 2-2.
Very big point here for the side of Lions Eat Bears, I think, right? Getting that 1-1 tie instead of going down 2-0. On top of that, right, having advantage for the draft, which can mean quite a lot. We still have Dash Awakenings on the table. We still have Size Awakenings on the table, right? Something that both the Rasmus and the Kazan want. And on the flip side, right, that Dash Awakening, good on the Estelle, good on the Kai. We'll see which way it goes, but right now we do have a KO.
Yeah, power play for Lions Eat Bears. They're doing a great job applying this pressure, but forwards in the net holding true so far. And unfortunately, Selassie doesn't have another strike on time, so the power play will work in Lion Eat Bears' favor, as they now have to try and defend. Daru trying to shark this net. Selassie blinking in with the flip, but Natty Fangirl is there to intercept it. Two flips now for the side of Lion Eat Bears. Open net to work with. A beautiful positioned ult. The forward sight from Moonbeam Sama to ult himself, and they're still alive. Cosmic Expanse, it's going to dwindle, but Moonbeam Sama covers it, and they're still in it. What a res, what a flip, what a play.
Yeah, that was an incredibly smart play for the Moonbeam Sama to do it all under that pressure too. Remember, again, first big tournament for that player, so we'll see if they are going to end up paying off for it. Bertram right now just absolutely fighting for his life, trying to just stay active here. Is going to maybe have an opportunity here with a Gig of the Barrage as well as he's there as well, but not going to be enough.
Yeah, so close for Lion Eat Bears. I mean, the defense from Nova has been not subpar, superb. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end as a nice pass to Natty Fangirl will get it through Moonbeam-sama.
Yeah, super big point. Bertram going to be your MVP as well. To complement that Super Surge, right, Cast to Last can be on the table. Reptile Remedy deny it as well. Glass Cannon, not to mention Glass Cannon Primetime, just both excellent awakenings in their own right for the Kai goalie. So Bertram has a very big power up here, and given his presence that he's able to have with the Super Surge and the eject button, I think this is actually going to be a really big difference. On the flip side, the size contention that I was talking about is going to go to the way of Kazan. Reptile Remedy, not the worst thing that you can be picking up, but against Estelle, Kazan, Atlas, it's not super duper great. So I think in essence, if Bertram can bring on his, his carry pants, I think this is a potential win condition here for the side of Lions Eat Bears. But on the flip side of the overall draft performance, I think goes the way of People Supernova.
Yeah, absolutely. Super unfortunate that any Fangirl just didn't have enough experience to get built diff despite his team winning the set. That's going to be felt for sure with Daru's presence on the other side of the field. What was also felt is another amazing live from Moonbeam-sama saving Celici as Nova is looking to hold this second barrier, but can't hold on to Celici's life once more. Liv already on cooldown. Nice Giga from Bertram. It's another power play for Lion as they're trying to work this top side. Natty Fangirl can't quite hold on to it. Passes to Flowers, but unfortunately not in position. Flip just came online. Still though, offense will rage on, and that was a beautiful bounce off the back barrier to the pendulum swing. And Lion Eat Bears, they're looking really strong right now with that goal being sent in off the boost.
Yeah, really good play on Natty Fangirl there. Very, very good angle to get past Moonbeam-sama. And that's what you have to do, right? Moonbeam is playing a pretty good game so far. Has some pretty good awakenings on the Atlas as well. Unfortunately, not going to be able to revive themselves past that, unfortunately. But overall, you have to get a little creative to get past the Atlas, and that is exactly what Lions Eat Bears are doing right now.
Yeah, very creative, finding good angles to kill the members of Nova as well. All three members participating in the offense and defense, trading positions almost seamlessly, looks like. Natty Fangirl in the pocket, the midfield pocket, holding on, and the topspin is beat out, so that barrier will stay alive. Live and standing, looking strong as they're looking to cash in this next point. Bertram stepping up, not going to find the goal, but the team will find another kill. The momentum shifting completely into Lions' favors after what was a very dominant first point for Nova.
Yeah, Flowers, not able to get the KO, even stood still, was so confident, but is able to get that in the end. And gosh, Bertram looking so good right now. Really struggled, I think, in that first set, but with this prime time, he's able to play defense really well. He's able to play offense really well, and it now feels like all of a sudden the People Supernova is really struggling to deal with both the added defense and offense off of Bertram's build.
Yeah, but that's a great turn of favor for them. Never mind, because Bertram equalizes almost instantly. Still, though, they can get this point here. They can finally get momentum back on their side. The tempo swinging into their corner. Celici and Daru taking a quick 20-second point.
Yeah, really, really well played here. People Supernova absolutely not out of it. This is still the team that 3-0'd the first set. Not to mention, they still have good builds themselves, right? Hot Shot on Moonbeam-sama, Glass Cannon on Celici, some much needed movement speed for the midfielder of People Supernova. Very much the ability to just play it, even play it safe and take this. So we'll see if that ends up happening, though. As of right now, Lions Eat Bears with possession.
Yeah, Moonbeam-sama trying to get this offense started. All offense starts with the good goalie, right? And that astral projection beating the dribble is going to help. One flip to work with for each team. We'll have to see which barrier falls as a result of them. And Celici is just beating out Natty Fangirl in the midfield, keeping on the offense, looking at all this damage that Lion Eat Bears is taking. Both the goalie and the midfield so low. Goalie eats orbs, pivoting to the offense, but Natty Fangirl in a 1v2 can't do it all by herself. Celici going to attack this bot side corner. Back pass, a little bit weird, but It'll still work in the end. Still the bot side corner, but not good enough. The corner offense on the wrong side, on the long side. Celici now in the midfield trying to pass up to Daru. It was a one-on-one, but a nice Giga. There's the first flip. Energy Econ now sidedly in the hands of Lion, but their barrier falls and looks like that energy won't matter as Daru gets it through with a top spin to supplement the goal.
A little bit slower, but the goal eventually was made. And as you mentioned, though, had a flow of bit of energy in order to get there. Celici needs to make a lot of use of this flip, which she might be able to do in just a second. No, that goalie barrier stays alive for now. Flip finally does come through. It's able to get it. It's an open net.
Open net in a very dangerous situation, but they get the last touch and clear it top side. They're able to trade for one, but not for two, as Moonbeam Sama is in the right position, pushing up, pushing through, pushing forward is Nova, as Moonbeam Sama with the expanse is going to dissipate. The clear is found, but not a great attack on the barrier. They're still on the back foot. If they can kill Daru here, though, that'll be a huge boon for them. And he's looking extremely low, but they find Celici instead. There goes all the offense. It's been dissolved, and Daru still has that HP problem. Bertram walking up with a flip, but it's denied by the Cosmic Expanse. And what a save! A fortunate bounce up top. Celici's back online. Natty Fangirl now the one in the crosshair. Looking very low, not pivoting back for the defense. They need to trade this barrier ASAP. They have a flip to work with here. It's Korg going fast. It's overtime. Hot shot from Moonbeam Sama going to be ever so more dangerous. Oh. But unfortunately, not going to play a part, as it's Celici who gets the cross up. The nice shot, and it beats out Bertram's reaction. No flip expended there means that Nova is going to have a very good draft for them. A lot of potent picks, but what to take if you're this Estelle?
Curious to see. I feel like there's a lot of options. Quick strike. Oh, ends up going for the missile propulsion, only to really deny the Luna, who's very, very happy with this prize fighter nonetheless. Flowers, again, just wants to prioritize those KOs. That is her game plan. That is her identity, and I don't see any reason that she should deviate from it, especially in this game so far. I think another interesting pickup, though, to maybe talk about for a little bit is that quick strikes on the Atlas. A lot of those claustrophobic situations in the corner can now become a little bit easier for Moonbeam Sama. Of course, it's going to be a lot easier if the enemy goalie just kind of gets taken out like that, but we'll see how this game plays out.
Yeah, forwards in the net for Lion once more. A lot of KOs happening on Oni Village, which is extremely uncharacteristic of the map. And that's a beautiful angle from Natty Fangirl. Unfortunately, doesn't get the double that we're hoping for. Celici was there, and Celici doing it all, saving them from disaster and earning them a point. Beautiful play from this Estelle in the midfield.
We'll see what comes of it. So right now, Bertram has been in a lot of situations where he's been KO'd. Part of that comes from that extra aggression that he wants to use with that Super Surge eject button, with that prime time, but there's still damage, like a little bit of damage to worry about here, especially from Celici, and Hai is a fragile striker after all, so we'll see if that becomes a big problem, especially now that there isn't a lot of HP left back in the draft. We'll see what comes of it, but as of right now, Daru's the one taking punishment.
Yeah, and there's the aggression from Bertram paying off. The barrage is barely beating out the Cosmic Expanse. Nice strike from Flowers keeps this second barrier alive. And so far, it's Lion in control of this point here. Moonbeam Sama does have a flip and has the foresight to res himself again. As an Atlas player, that is not easy to do. But Moonbeam Sama 2 for 2 with it so far. Very impressive, but has a whole lot to deal with because all three members of Lion are going to have their flip very soon. Bertram stepping up to the pocket, not quite going to find it, and there's one flip expended for a kill, trying to make this, getting this point a lot easier. Team player almost backfiring with that flip, and Celici gets the strike. Despite all this offense, they just can't do it. The hook's even helping them out. Disaster for Lion as they just can't quite cash it in. Now it's a flip from Celici up to Daru. Not going to find it, but they still have possession of the core. Bertram barrages early, still not changing much, but there's a nice clear top side. Just kidding, because Celici's there with the Rose Warp, and Daru's going to win his one as well. What beautiful defense, and then the sustained offense from Nova. They're looking in top form right now.
Really, really good play. Again, people Supernova, just absolute death grips on the offense right now. Flip from Natty Fangirl, which she was holding all throughout last point, has to be used defensively now. And Bertram, like I mentioned earlier, is going to have a little bit of issues with HP resources come some of these plays. We'll see, though, if this offense can go through.
Yeah, but it's Daru in the one, and that's the crooked leverage 50-50 golden position. And unfortunately, the chance of a comeback for Lion is stripped away. And it's not even that Lion played bad, Brickbat. They played to their strengths super well. But I mean, Celici and Moonbeam Sama on the defense just looked unbeatable, despite the sustained pressure. Now, even with Bertram stepping up on Kai, it was just too much. And then you're running Kai into Kazan, and Kai doesn't have the same defensive options or capabilities as an Atlas or Ndubu. It's literally just barrage and strike. And you just have to wonder what their plan is, because they played well, but quite frankly, Nova played very well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think part of that comes down to the playstyle that Lions Eat Bears wants to do. I think Bertram is very much a mechanically competent player, wants to do a lot of that aggression, wants to play in multiple roles, and doing so enables Flowers to focus more on finding those picks and kind of ramping up and getting those KOs. But unfortunately, I don't think that game plan played off. I think that Moonbeam Sama was very, very confident with the revives, especially on the ones on themselves. And Flowers sitting here with 5 KOs, that is not enough of an impact to really make a difference in a game. And obviously 5 KOs, still a little bit of difference, will be the determiner in some points, maybe even a set or two, right? But not the double-digit KOs you really need to see to be able to say that you took over a game. And I think if we are to see an adaptation, I think maybe something with better kill confirm. The Rasmus, of course, was really, really good, but I felt like Flowers had to find a lot of the picks herself, which of course she's confident and completely able to do, but it didn't feel like there's a solid game plan fitting around it. And we'll see if Lions Eat Bears wants to change that in the next game, or if they maybe want to take away something like the Atlas in the case of Moonbeam Sama picking it up again and just preventing that sort of thing from happening.
Yeah, Moonbeam Sama on the Atlas was doing super well, not only watching himself for any kill threats, but had a few reses on Celici as well, and that really stifled Lion's ability to play to this sort of death ball, snowbally offense as much as they would have liked to. But I think it's also the map. Oni's Village doesn't really reward kill comping as much as something like Taiko Temple or Atlab, where you can have that really easy corner offense and just stuff it through because the lack of the man is felt more. But on Oni's Village, because it's so open and the passing lines are so free, they play to that strength, Nova did. And they really just move the ball around Lions there. So honestly, even though they were able to execute as best as they could have on the map, I do think just the fact that they had the options and the mobility to manipulate the core around this Rasmus and this Luna made it so that the power plays weren't as dangerous as they could have been.
Yeah, 100% agreed. We saw a lot of those situations where the pick on Daru or Celici happened, and Natty Fangirl, while making some really good plays himself, and able to get a lot of barriers, especially with a lot of creative uses of the pendulum swing, just wasn't able to do enough. And I think that's exactly as you put it, right? The power plays were not as devastating, right? Moonbeam Sama was able to hold even in some 2v1 situations when it was handed off to them. And Lion Eat Bears need to figure out a game plan. In hindsight, I think the spec training between the Luna, the Kai, and the Rasmus was pretty cohesive. Like, I see the vision in that, being able to, even though you're picking something like the Kai that isn't necessarily KO focused, the fact that there is a spec training means that you actually have two characters that can confirm. But unfortunately, it was playing a little bit too much with fire, maybe cooking a little bit too hard in the kitchen. And at the end of the day, Moonbeam Sama was able to hold it down. So we'll see if maybe something else comes through. I know that 90 Fangirl, a big Rasmus. I think they're a pretty solid Rasmus player. But again, every brawler nowadays has a pretty extensive pool of what they could pick out. And I want to see if something else will happen. Of course, if the Vice slips through, I'm wondering if Flowers will end up picking it. That is, of course, her signature character and something that she likes to default to, especially in some of these high pressure back against the wall situations. We'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, as we finally get a peek at the game 2 map and starting awakenings, heading over to Night Market with Reptile Remedy and Super Surge, and those are very different awakenings in what they want to accomplish. Um, on Night Market as well makes this more favorable for Lion because Night Market is a very kill heavy map with any brawler taking that speed gate and finding you unaware close to the edge. It's devastating, really, if you get a Juliet and dash punch and you're cooked. Super Surge makes it so finding these long range dashes, making that dash a little bit more dangerous, not for scoring, not necessarily for kill potential because there's some weird interactions there. But Reptile Remedy makes it so that chipping away at them with damage like they were doing last game with their spec training and their dead eye and their tempo swings, it's going to be less effective. But Pig's coming out, and Lion's going to get rid of Daru's Kazan, which I think makes a lot of sense because that Kazan was schmoovin' on Oni's Village.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think that debut ban also just makes a lot of sense, right? Bertram's signature character, something that he's absolutely 1v9'd very high level games in. So it makes sense to just say, previous game be damned, clinching our goalie's pool be damned. We're just going to get rid of it and not have to deal with it. Moonbeam Sama, of course, the pick of the litter between Mako and Atlas is going to be absolutely fine. And looks like they are opting into the Mako. Oh, and actually we see a Mako era X composition come through, which is something that, obviously been a staple, will always be a staple here in this level of play. And on the flip side, though, is that a Zentaro goalie or is that a Rasmus midfield? I'm actually curious to see.
You don't think it's gonna be Aimee on?
Wait, it could absolutely
the
be
goalie?
No, well, okay, well it could be, but then you have Rasmus Zentaro as forwards.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
that's a little weird.
But I'm wondering if it is a Aimee midfield, it could also be a Rasmus goalie as well. But I actually don't know if Bertram plays this. This could really go either way.
But still, on paper, it looks very good because Zentaro looks with the Super Surge start just
Yeah.
given to him means that character's basically Thanos, like already. Because EI Rush going as far as it does, your passive, your Oni's Blade, they just cover so much more area. And they make your confirms that much more potent. And the extra speed on a character like Rasmus and the extra range, especially if it's EB Aimee, makes it so that even the goalie can participate
Mhm.
from across the field. But loading in, seeing the picks, looks like it's going to be Bertram on the Rasmus goalie with Flowers on Aimee and Natty on Zentaro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see. I haven't seen too much of Bertram's Rasmus. It's definitely something. It's not what he's known for, so I'm very curious to see. Theoretically, Rasmus into X, I think, favors Rasmus a little bit, so long as he gets the range to play with, the space to play with, which he absolutely can. Between the Zentaro and the Aimee, they could absolutely get space and deny areas that people want to be, just even through just damage threat alone, right? So I think Bertram potential to really shut out Daru here, but this is still Era Mako X, right? This is still a composition that scales incredibly hard. This is still a composition that could brute force their way through a lot of situations, and especially if you are going down set one, it can be a brutal comeback situation.
Yeah, absolutely, and they already had a kill to boot. And even though Natty Fangirl is online, they don't have the experience that everybody else does, so no ults, and they're making great use of their positioning right now to get that second barrier. Flowers has her flip already, going to back pass to Bertram, who was lagging a little bit, scary stuff. But it works out in the end. Flowers inserting herself into the play, getting the ball into a fortunate bounce, so that Natty Fangirls, that EI rush, is going to hit literally everything from that corner. And even though it was a rough start, Lion get the first point.
Yeah. Really, really strong. Of course, yeah, the Super Surge is going to be so impactful on literally all of these characters, right? The two Dash Awakening from Mako is still very much a win condition for this team, and starting the game with one of them is going to be very, very nice. On the flip side, though, we're seeing so much damage come out onto Lion Eats Bears. Flip has to be used defensively by Flowers. Is able to get one goalie barrier for her troubles, but this is a bad situation to be in.
Yeah, one of the worst that I've seen them. Both forwards battered and bruised. Daru going to heal back up, stealing away that orb from Natty Fangirl, who gets staggered. It doesn't even matter because Celici and Daru just have such overwhelming offense, the two of them, especially because both forwards of Lion are forced out of the play because of their health bar.
One thing to note as well, we've got a Pums Aimi. And Flowers, the player, very much liking to go for those KOs. We'll see if she'll be able to do it with a glitch pop combo, but this also means that your midfielder has no mobility unless you have a man advantage, so it could be pretty tough to deal with if you're not able to get it. And so far as of right now, Lions Eat Bears has not been able to. We still have a situation though where you do have two kill confirmed characters between the Zentaro and the Rasmus. Both of their specials are very good for taking out a staggered player. The problem is getting them there in the first place right now. Feels like that opportunity has not arisen with Natty Fangirl having to play with her HP so defensively.
Yeah, Natty Fangirl looking like the midfielder with all this position sandwiched between her teammates. Ooh. And that's just a nice confirm off the base clear from Bertram. Flip not expended there, and I think that was a good play. Because if we look at the energy econ of the other team, both forwards going to have theirs very soon. So that's a valuable resource for them off of what was a very doomed start. And what a turn! Flowers getting a kill! Natty Fangirl getting the second barrier, hit stunning Moonbeam Sama. I was yapping about how energy is going to come into play for this point. No, because Celici's taken off the board, and guess how quickly that turns around for them as there's two flips to work with for Lion.
Yeah, and this is arguably the most important point that we're going to see this game. Do you have the set one advantage here on Aramako X, or are you playing for scaling? So the way that this shapes out will influence the rest of the game. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, power play looking good! And there's the second man down! The turret confirming Moonbeam Sama, who was forced back to the goal line. And out of thin air, it seems like Lion is able to steal away this first point. And there's a Deadeye for the Aimi. Probably the best awakening Flowers could have hoped for, because that will make her kill that much harder.
Yeah, deja vu from the previous game. Of course, the previous game went a little bit differently, but stacks on X over the Rampage. I'm quite curious to see why Daru, to see if Daru is able to utilize this effectively. I would have picked Size here every time, especially with the Era and the Mako on my back. Tempest Wing going to be picked up for Era. Of course, in the days of old, this used to be a sleeper pick on the Era, right? Because she could proc it so much with the Tornado. Now, of course, it's nerfed. I still think it's usable because I think that interaction is still a little bit strong, but it's not going to be the sudden health bar destroyer that we saw back in days past. So interesting to see how this will go. An unfortunate offense means that People's Supernova is going to lose a barrier. But for now, I think Lions Eat Bears is just very, very happy that they did not lose this first set. Very, very crucial win for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Sets the tone, sets the pace for them. as they're able to equalize in barriers off of the unfortunate bell ringer, but Daru makes up for past mistakes, getting that second one in no time flat. The sentry turret's online, exerting so much pressure that allows Natty Fangirl to set herself up for a beautiful confirm with the EI rush. But still no, X is massive, bullying Bertram, and if that Maelstrom was just a little bit later, that could have been a very clean goal. Unfortunately, we're still going to try and make up for that as well. We have a flip almost online for Daru. Moonbeam Sama holding on to his for right now. Flowers with the core and a flip, but Moonbeam Sama sets it up. It's caught by the EI rush. It's sent right back to Natty Fangirl, but even better defense from People's Supernova. They hold on. The sentry turret back online. Not going to find anything either, though, as People's Supernova doing a great job thwarting every single advance from Lion.
Yeah, the defense holds for now, and it's going to be Daru's opportunity to maybe shine here, unless Natty Fangirl steals it out. No, not going to happen. We'll see what comes of it. Flip on Daru could go any which way.
Yeah, we're playing it a lot slower now, and as we're trying to find a subtle opportunity to get offense well established. It's overtime, so it's so hard to keep possession of this core without something like a sentry turret or a Maelstrom to block a path, an avenue. And Moonbeam Sama so patient, waiting out for that. And Daru finds the core in their capable hands, pops the X Maximus, hits both the core and the goalie, tail is hold of time, and it goes in.
Yeah. Is crucially able to preserve that flip as well, so that the energy deficit that People's Supernova would have potentially been in is not nearly as bad now. Unfortunately, without whiff flip, they are going to be in that bad situation now, but with one goalie barrier down, it's not all hope is lost here, but we'll see, though. It is a little bit of a rough situation. As a double barrier flip from Bertram on the defense is so beautiful to see.
Yeah, very fortuitous for them. Natty Fangirl staggered but not out of the play. I mean, the length of this dash off of one awakening, it's just so perfect. Natty Fangirl sent the core like almost perpendicular, like just up. And he was still able to catch it with the dash, send it in top side. I mean, every single player is using their abilities to the max right now, and it's crazy to see the level difference for somebody like me versus these people on the screen right now.
Yeah, I feel that a little bit, but we'll see if that level of play continues right now, because we are 1-1, and again, even though the first set might be the most important, that Era X scaling is still very much threatening in set number 2. You don't want to really be even or down against them at any point, and even though the offense is going very well for Lions Eat Bears, they still have that goal to score. Flowers with the flip is there, but not going to really have the support, and with that gone, Natty Fangirl needs to make something happen right now.
Yeah, Bertram's doing God's work in the midfield, getting to speed gates, holding on to the core, killing off so much time from this power play. They only have 5 seconds to work with it by the time Flowers is back online, and they're only able to cash in one barrier. A beautiful kill from Lion Eats Bears as they're looking to reset this offense, and Snare Drum's coming out at a perfect time to beat out Flowers' blink. And Daru here, working bot side all by his lonesome, is able to charge up his flip. Zealousy is going to have theirs soon. Daru's going to use it, confirmed with the bull rush. They still hold on to the core. A great turn for them. Even better now, 2 players basically on death's door. One of them already met her maker. Natty Fangirl trying to kill out this power play without dying herself, but that's a tough task when Daru's hounding you. There's Cersei with the flip, gonna wait it out entirely, and Bertram reads it. So, all in all, the worst of it has been prevented, but still, it's Nova trying to rage forth and get this point.
Yeah, flip now going to be burned from Bertram. Has to play the defense here, but it's going to be in the hands of Daru again, not able to give the movement speed to get that final 50-50 shot. Shot from Natty Fangirl going to be defended away from Celisy. The glitch pop doesn't find its mark. The tornado's there as well. Moonbeam Sama on the Mako has the flip to work with. Will be very comfortable. Has to blow it here, though. Daru now, maybe an opportunity. Has to make this shot here. The X Maximus is going to be there. It's going to be enough despite the whiffed flip. And it was a little ugly. It was a little brutal. And they might not have no energy anymore. But the people Supernova are going to find themselves here on set point.
Yeah, equalizing here would be huge for them. What's not huge for them is Flowers getting a kill. That's the Pum's Deadeye difference right there. X was nowhere near the edge, but was forced there anyway. Now Natty Fangirl walking up with the flip, getting bruised though, going to use it, and he's gonna find it through 3! Natty Fangirl is going to die in the end, but they are able to get that goal, and that's all that matters, no matter what you took to get there.
Yeah, Flowers' opportunity to maybe score here as well. Natty Fangirl going to be up. We'll see, though. They need to equalize the set as soon as possible to not get into the dreaded set 4 situation for people's Supernova. There it is. Flip expended, which means that Moonbeam Sama and Celicy are going to have the leg up in this upcoming point, but it is absolutely winnable for the side of Lions Eat Bears. It's going to be a little tough, but they have to do it in order to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, Sentry Turret expended on the defense as Daru still retains possession. That Bull Rush is going to whip and allow Natty Fangirl and Flowers to get their hands on the offense. Nice Oni's Blade to keep Natty Fangirl alive as Bertram steps up. But it's Moonbeam Sama with the perfect pitch. Not quite perfect enough, but that flip certainly will be. Second barrier has fallen. Daru is so close to a flip, as well as Natty Fangirl. The core is in their opponent's side, but not for long as Daru dribbles and gets broken up by Flowers. They really need to equalize here before overtime, and they will with a nice pass play. The Sentry Turret's online, EI Rush, but unfortunately these abilities aren't going to find their mark. A Fangirl in the midfield trying to delete Celicy from the map. Isn't going to do it quite just yet, though, as we tick ever so closer to OT, and it's Natty Fangirl eating the buzzer. What a beautiful passive and dash play. That was awesome.
Natty, that was fucking sick. Yeah, that was super awesome. Sorry, Natty Fangirl, not the other guy. Natty Fangirl, that was super duper sick. And that is such a clutch play from Natty Fangirl, aka Lola Mao, right? Gonna talk about that for a second. This is now the lose condition for the Era Mako X. They now have to win in the set where the X hasn't fully scaled to his potential. Of course, gonna have the stacks on stacks and the Reptile Remedy, not to mention even more stagger on top of that with the peak performance, right? Still a very cohesive build, still gonna be a force to reckon with, but this is not quite the X that can fully take over the game just quite yet. And with that KO found by Flowers, the momentum has been solidified. Lions Eat Bears have a real shot at winning this one and taking us to a game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the fact that Celicy was taken off the board so quick, and the power play will be cashed in fully. Both barriers falling. Natty Fangirl just didn't have the right bounce, but we'll get it there off the drum and bass. Natty Fangirl just in the middle of everything, cashing in points, abilities, kills, whatever, and getting it done.
Very fast point as well, which is really good. It prevents that X from getting the stacks on stacks and only getting it very late in the set where the relevancy will not be as much, which is very good. It's going to be very hard to kill this X, so the less that he touches the core, the better. We already see, look, Flowers using the glitch pop just to make sure that X doesn't get possession and get any of those stacks. X has touched the core twice this point so far.
Yeah, not what you want to see. Most of your stacks coming from ability hits and not strike hits. But that's a good touch. Getting the kill on Natty Fangirl there is going to be a huge boon for this offense. But that glitch pop is going to shave off precious seconds. But Daru's just able to get there with the Bull Rush. Bertram waiting it out and is going to win his one, even though it looked a little shaky. It's Daru with all the speed in the world, though, getting it off the rebound and equalizing points, a much needed one for people Supernova.
Yeah, really good point. Again, never out of the woods against Era Mako X, but you are in your win condition situation. So play it calm, play it collected, and this should be a win for Lions Eat Bears. Daru, though, making me eat my words, already able to get one barrier, and with the assistance as Mako, it could be a very deadly offense here.
Yeah, but the energy decidedly in the hands of Lion, especially when Celicy is taken off the board yet again. Trying to get this power play started, and Daru is going to be the target of a lot of abilities and a whiffed flip as well. Beautiful flip from Moonbeam Sama though, able to get it in, and crazy ping pong activities with the opening goal barriers, but Daru is able to get the better of it and cash in yet another point for People Supernova.
Yeah, there's one thing that this X is, it's fast, right? 522 move speed, the highest in the game by, I believe, a solid 75. So not going to be able to kind of maneuver around him as cleanly as you'd like.
Yeah, what an ensnare drums from Moonbeam Sama. The kittens are meowing for Daru as he is just getting all the support in the world with all the speed. The stacks are fully stacked. This is the worst case situation for Lions Eat Bears, who are looking to close it out here and now. Sentry Turret's going to go wide, and the portal, the tornado is going to shove Bertram away. Flowers cover it with the glitch pop, but in the franticness trying to get up to the top side, Celice's going to turn it in anyway, and Daru is MVP. Going to be rewarded here. A lot of good options, spectrating, demolitionist, a lot of speed as well.
Yeah, we'll see what he ends up picking. This is going to be really interesting. There's nothing that shatters the game in two, per se. I'm actually more looking at this aerials for the Mako. That actually might be the biggest pickup here for this draft. That is a double Dash Awakening Mako, right? Which means that this X era has been turbocharged. Unfortunately, we were looking at the X checkmate here in draft, but the Mako one is the thing to be fulfilled instead. And dare I say it, very greedy on the flowers. I think on flowers, and maybe not deny it. A little bit maybe greedy on Bertram, who was, I believe, earlier in drafts, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but to not deny that, I think might bite Lions Eat Bears in the butt. We'll see what could happen, though. Omega Infused Accelerator going to be on Natty, who has been playing fantastically, and some much-needed move speed on the team of Lions Eat Bears can go a long way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it's only if Natty Fangirl can hold on to her life as much as can, because this era have been killing Bertram with a beautiful whiplash, preventing the worst of it, but a whiff strike won't do the job, as Daru sends it right at Bertram, throwing away his timing, and it's the first point for People Supernova.
This is a situation where things can get really dicey really quick. Obviously, it's not a guaranteed loss, right? But the scaling has happened. The window of opportunity where you were significantly stronger than the Era X Mako has passed. And that means a lot of opportunities can come the way of Daru and Celice to really close it out here. We'll see, though. Especially going to have a lot of opportunities with Moonbeam Sama's support. But Natty Fangirl, who's made some amazing plays so far this game, is absolutely not going to give up without a fight.
Yeah, getting stonewalled right now, but that's a great opportunity. Forces out the flip, and Bertram can't quite cash it. So Moonbeam Sama will earn them that second barrier, and Daru picks up a kill for them as well. Any Fangirl trying to rotate back on this defense so low because of that Omega Infused Accelerator. It's Daru with all the speed in the world, and a flip to boot. And it's Celice getting hers as well. The Sentry Turret expended on the defense. The flip not even expended. Bertram completely ran down by this X. Was a whopping 525 movement speed, making Natty Fangirl's pick seem completely obsolete.
Yeah, that is 525 before Mako, before Era, right? Jumping up to the 700s when either buff comes on him. Just to hit tab right now, approaching 800 in some of these situations, right? That is almost twice the default of some of these strikers. Absolutely brutal to deal with, and unless a play can happen right now in this power play, which is happening well, it's going to be a very uphill battle for Lions Eat Bears for the rest of this game.
Yeah, the one thing that's been ringing true for Lions Eat Bears is the fact that they're able to find these picks. But unfortunately, it's just like Oni's Village. They can't cash in because their opponent has just scaled so hard. Daru's winning every single strike war. He's getting the core back to him every single time from Celice and Moonbeam Sama. And it's just working because this X has fully scaled, and it's only going to get worse with something like 1-2 or the Happy Star to complement his spec training.
Yeah, 100% agreed. Extra special spec training Unfortunately, no power to boot it to kind of really super duper turbocharge. To be quite honest, feels like it's going for a little bit of extra icing on the cake. Right, obviously there's no extra move speed that you could really get, but that was kind of the game plan that Dario was going for in a lot of these, and was able to find some KOs, which is really, really nice, but how fast he's going, that's what's the pressure on Lions Eat Bears right now. Now as we enter this final set here, it feels like I'm seeing a little bit of writing on the wall. People Supernova have absolutely scaled. They have absolutely hit their win condition, and all they need to do is play clean Omega Strikers, and they will find their way into the next round and into another opportunity to punch their ticket into landing.
Yeah, but I really like the draft from Lion Eat Bears. They got a lot of damage with it, and that's the sort of thing you need when you're on the back foot. And what you've been doing great is finding these picks. Daru just barely going to clinch onto their life. And Natty Fangirl can't quite say the same, getting taken on a trip to their demise. And it's Daru able to find that second barrier. The damage not quite flowing enough without him for Lions Eat Bears. It's a beautiful passing play, and Bertram and Flowers doing great work in the goal arc. As Celesti's looking worse for wear here. Still going to try and pass up to Daru, but it's Flowers with the flip. Can't find anything off of it. It's Daru stepping up with a flip of their own, but unfortunately not going to find it either. There's the flip, but Bertram's quick on the trigger, able to react to it. That's a crazy save for them, and there goes Celesti off on the entire map, from the cross of the map, really. It's this great opportunity for Lions Eat Bears if they're able to cash in on it, because right now People Supernova are completely strapped of energy, and they just got their person back on line 2.
Yeah, the defense is coming through. Daru winning the strike war, but it's actually going to be knocked away by Bertram. Flip comes through as well. Ooh. Almost snipes away that goalie barrier, but just held by Moonbeam Sama. Eventually it's going to go down, but Daru, another opportunity here. No, it's going to be intercepted by Flowers. The Oni's blade is there as well, but nothing to be had. We are solidly into overtime. Any team can take this point.
Yeah, and it's going to be the team player proc from Flowers, just shooting it top side. I don't think his soul was ready and aware for it, and that's going to work to Lions Eat Bears' favor. A hard-earned point, but a point they so desperately needed.
100% agreed. At the end of the day, scaling be damned, the win conditions be damned. If you put that core in the net, you'll win more often than you lose. Daru taking a lot of damage. This is going to be a really big KO if it happens, because it resets those stacks. You have to believe that Flowers is feeding for it, but that opportunity might not come to pass. A double barrier shot already.
Yeah, double barrier, but Bertram looking so comfortable in this net. God knows I wouldn't be, as Flowers is pushed away by this magical maelstrom. Flowers back pass, very risky as Daru was so close to it. We're waiting out every single ability. Sentry turret on the defense, buying every precious second that they can, as Daru finally close to staggered out of the play. A moment to breathe for Lions Eat Bears, as Natty Fangirl sort of flounders like a fish in the midfield, and there's a snipe from cross map. That's the aerials difference right there. Moonbeam Sama getting People Supernova on the board.
Yeah, 1-1 situation down the wire here, and again, advantages all going towards the side of People Supernova. Look at Daru just running an absolute rampage, going right through an 8-second point on board, now putting Lions Eat Bears at their elimination point. Again, lose this point and you go home. Win this and you have another shot at life. Daru looking really hungry here, but we'll see what happens.
And it's not a good start for Lions Eat Bears. Flowers burning their flip, and Natty Fangirl out of the count. Celesti trying to go for a crazy angle, not going to find it though. And Natty Fangirl is back online, forcing Moonbeam someone to use their flip, but Bertram has to use his just to be safe. You can't take any risk when you're on Death's Door like this. Bertram trying to step up a little bit further, get the offense roaring and back online for Lions Eat Bears, but Daru with the flip. Bertram's able to, not the flip, the X Maximus, and Bertram's able to evade it for now. 19 seconds until overtime, and that's honestly the win condition for Lions Eat Bears. They can get that team player red coring and just use the chaos to their advantage. But in the midst of the chaos is Daru winning the strike war. into Bertram. And unfortunately for Lions Eat Bears, that is wraps for them. And Nova gets their second shot to make it to landing.
Yeah, that was super unfortunate. I saw that strike war a little bit too early, and that yeah, I despaired. That was rough to watch, especially because there was almost that opportunity, but the game plan was too clean from the Peeper Supernova. Daru, an absolute monster in that brawling position, a 10+1 performance, 42,000 damage, the most in the game for both goals and damage by a pretty good margin too in terms of those goals, right? Just so solid here on those fundamentals, right? And Moonbeam Sama did not put a highlight on themselves like they did in those previous games, but did play the double dash awakening Mako, played that supportive role perfectly. And honestly, in those positions, if they're not noticing the Mako, then you're playing the Mako correct, right? Because they're not thinking about they're not thinking about the Mako that's in the back playing the drums. They're thinking about this double-sized X with 700, 800 move speed in front of your face, just clobbering away at you. So really well played, really solid fundamentals coming out from People Supernova. This is looking like an incredibly strong team to contend with for these last few slots in Liftoff.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll play to them. But that is it for this set. When we come back, more Omega Strikers. So don't go anywhere.